Good morning, everybody. Now, if it looks a little bit different where I am, we are doing paper route all across the country today. I'm Ashley
Mm.
Nicole Moss. I'm coming to you live from my hometown of New York City. We got Brandon Marshall holding things down in the West Coast. He's coming to you live from Las Vegas.
There
We
he
got
is.
Corey down south, the bottom of the rock, the 305 Miami.
We
We got
here.
JP and everyone holding it down in California. We are in just national operation
Painting
today.
the
We are though.
globe.
And I feel like, listen, that's the only way we should do it because we have Troy Aikman joining us in the show. So we're covering it coast to coast from one of my cowboy goats. I'm very excited. But let me introduce you to the squad one more time. I'm Ashley Nicole Moss, Brandon Marshall.
There's no,
Corey.
hold on, no, hold on. Time out, time out, time out,
Oh,
time out,
oh,
time out. There's only
okay.
one GOAT. Ashley, stop doing this. We had this
I said
conversation
one
in
of the
basketball
cowboy
season.
goats. Stop it. I said
There's
one
not
of the
one of
cowboy
the
goats.
Cowboys GOAT. There's only one Cowboy GOAT. Name the Cowboy GOAT. Pick one. There can't be five Cowboy GOATs. GOAT stands for greatest of all time.
Brandon, can you let me get through the introduction of the show before you start this conversation? For the love of God, let me
Start the
get through
week
the
hot.
intro.
We started it hot.
Like I said,
Welcome
that's
to
Brandon
Monday.
Marshall. We
Happy
got Corey
Monday.
in the cut. We got Woo out west, BC in the back, Mander Legend, the whole squad. Like I said,
Yeah.
we are coast to coast. New York, Vegas, Miami. We're all over the
man.
place. Brandon, Corey, you guys excited for today?
Oh, I'm super
excited.
excited. Super
I'm
excited. I know
I'm
you are
super
too, Brandon.
excited today. I'm feeling a lot of trivia today, Ashley. You hit it on the head. We are painting, not the globe. I misspoke. We are painting the nation. You're in New York, like you said. We got Corey in Miami, and I'm out here in Vegas. Quick trivia question, Corey.
Okay.
If it's noon there, what time is it here?
It's
You got
10,
5 seconds.
10 a.m. Got it. Boom. You in Vegas, right?
10 a.m. He's wrong.
If you're in Vegas, it's mountain time. It's not mountain time in Vegas? Or
No,
you're
it's
Pacific?
West Coast time, bro.
Oh, you're Pacific? All
Corey,
right,
what?
easy.
Corey,
Easy
come
9.
on,
Sorry.
be for real. Are you for real?
I messed up the zones. I figured Vegas would be mountain time. That is
Yeah,
not a
No,
mountain
Vegas
time.
is the
kinda
West Coast, beloved. Vegas is the West
It's,
Coast.
I mean, it's not the
Vegas
West
is
Coast
the West.
geographically. If we being,
It is the West Coast.
literal,
No, it's 100% the West Coast.
what ocean does it touch?
You don't have to. Oh my God.
That's. I'm like, if you want to be literal, let's be literal then.
Can't
What
be a
what
coast
ocean does
without
it
an
touch? It
ocean.
can't be on the coast. No,
You don't
all right,
need to
all right.
be
I
on the
stand
coast
corrected though. I
to
stand
be West
corrected.
Coast.
9 a.m. I was wrong. It's 9 a.m.
Oh my goodness gracious, Corey.
No,
Actually, it's
all right.
going to be a big show. We've
Yeah.
been trying to get this Troy Aikman interview scheduled. You know, we love catching up with our vet talk. So I'm excited about it. I have some questions. I know you have some questions and some thoughts there. You know, I'm looking forward to it. He'll
Absolutely.
be joining
Yes,
us, what, in like
it's
12 minutes?
it's gonna be dope. I'm very excited. As you guys know, diehard Cowboys fan here, so this is a huge moment for me. I'm really excited. I'm meeting all the OG Cowboys, whether virtually or directly. I met and interviewed Emmitt Smith in LA for that Super Bowl. He actually signed my dad's vintage Cowboys jersey. It's hanging up in the house. So now I get to add Troy Aikman to that list. I met Deion Sanders, Phoenix Super Bowl. I'm knocking them off one by
You
one.
are.
This is cool.
You about to have all of
Yeah,
the
that would be
Cowboys legends
dope.
out of there soon. Yeah.
Ashley, I thought about you this morning, right? I was like, yo, you know, I love to be creative. And I'm like, we always talk about man caves. And I was like, it would be a dope set if Ashley had a cave. I don't know what we would name it, but if you had a man cave, okay,
A man
still
cave.
working title. Yeah, like it would be dope walking into your women cave, Ashley cave, man cave, whatever you want to call it. And then you have like your Emmitt Smith jersey hanging there, your Troy Aikman, your Michael Irvin, Jerry Jones memorabilia, something there. That would that'd be pretty dope. But
Wait
I
a
thought about
second.
like I can see Ashley having her own like cave and her husband or boyfriend in the future having nothing.
Actually, you know what my mom calls it? You might
You
have
know
to give
what,
credit
though?
to my mom. She calls it a lady layer.
A lady layer, I heard that. My
Lady layer
aunt
is
has
pretty
one of
cool.
those as well.
Does she?
But you know what? You just reminded me. I think I actually have officially met all the big stars of the 90s Cowboys. Michael Irvin was the first Cowboy that I met. When I was covering youth football, he hosted an event. I have a photo with him. I met him again, or not met him again. I got to see him again, LA Super Bowl, so that's one. Emmitt Smith, like I said, Troy Aikman today, Deion Sanders in Phoenix. I got the whole squad.
Yep. There you go.
Obviously, I know
You're right
Dak
there.
and those guys, so the new wave, but the old wave, I feel like I covered all my bases.
Yeah, you have to get Jerry Jones, and you definitely have to get Coach. If you do that,
You
you're
might
you're
have,
you're
Yes.
right where you need
you
to
might have,
be.
like you said, checked all the
Yes.
boxes
Okay.
there. Yep,
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
right where you need to be.
Well,
Do
look,
we have any news of the day? What happened this weekend? It feels like it was a long weekend.
it was. I know. Yeah, it was a long weekend, but we absolutely do have news of the day. If you guys were tuned in on Friday night, Lionel Messi made his debut with Inter Miami.
Corey, I saw you on the
Messi,
TV.
Messi,
I saw you on the
Messi.
TV, Corey.
I made Sports Center. I
Bandwagon.
don't know if we were able to throw in that cut, but yo, look, I had footage myself from where I was
Yeah.
sitting of this shot. Yo, we gotta take a look at it. I want y'all to see
It was
this.
an amazing scene.
Let me see this footage. Let me see
Boom.
this. This is your actual footage.
That's from my
Yes, he
phone,
was
Brandon.
right behind the
That's from my
goal
phone. Right
when
behind, right
Messi
behind the
did
goal.
his penalty
And,
kick.
and
He
my
got
my
a
mom's
first
reaction
round
there was
look.
everyone's reaction there at the stadium. No, it was an electric environment. I'm so glad I actually went. And Messi just proved why he's the GOAT. Like, he honestly proved why he's the GOAT in his first game with Inter Miami. It was like he got fouled. It was in the last minute that he could have actually had a goal too. It was in the 94th minute. They had added 2 minutes to the end of the game, and he had gotten, I'm not sure, I'm gonna use the wrong terminology, but he got fouled. And then they gave him a free kick. Yeah.
It's
I'm
not,
not-
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't know what
Extra
the right.
kick.
Yeah, exactly.
So
got the free
this is
kick,
what
and
I
I was
love-
right there. It was right there. I could have got hit with the ball. It was crazy.
This is what I love about sports, Ashley, right? You know, you bring people together, people that knows nothing about the game. You
Right.
know, you create these bandwagon fair weather fans. You know, you got Corey there paying an arm and a leg. Look at these seats. Look at this footage. He's paying an arm and a leg, Ashley, to go watch Messi. Okay, he's never really been to a game. This kid is from Broward County, Florida.
Absolutely.
He's never kicked a soccer ball. Now, look at his mother.
Yeah.
You think they grew up? They're from the hood. You think they grew up watching
Crazy.
soccer and following Messi?
Right.
Like, look at
Look
this.
at me. I was
Like,
thinking about
all
wearing
of
a
sudden, now
jersey,
you're
too.
Look, he got a jersey in the studio. Like, come on, man.
That's not
Messi's
a
the
jersey.
GOAT.
That's a
It was
flag.
like a little flag. These were
Brandon,
the
what
flags.
is wrong with y'all today?
I know, right? They had flags in the seats, so everybody got to take some of these. Of course, everybody was trying to grab as much as they can. We had to, scourge for this, but no, it was again great atmosphere. Messi did his thing, man. It brought the stars out. LeBron James was there. Kim Kardashian was there. I actually walked
And
past
you were
Yo
there?
Gotti. It was pretty funny. Yo Gotti was there.
Corey in the cut was there.
Yeah, Corey in the cut was there too. Posted up and tuned in. But yo, I might have
Did
to
you
go
say
to
what's
another
up to
game.
Yo Gotti?
Say that again.
Did you say what's up to Yo Gotti?
Honestly, I didn't. He was so incognito too. Like, he walked right past me. This was after the game when everybody's kind of like walking to their cars. He had a security guard in front of him, security guard behind him, but super incognito. Just had a plain T-shirt on. Didn't have any of his chains on. He was just trying to get from point A to point B. But I remember seeing him when he was he's like in the little booth on the side.
Corey,
So,
was that your
Ashley-
first? Was that your first soccer game?
Believe it or not, it was my
Right.
second. I went to an Orlando City.
Okay, so that was
game.
like your first one of this magnitude, though.
Yes, definitely
Bandwagon.
my first of this
So-
magnitude.
So now that you went and saw Messi front and center,
Mm-hmm.
do you believe in Messi mania? Do you understand why I was making such a big deal about him coming to Miami, him playing in America in general? Like, do you get it now?
Yeah.
Now that you witnessed it firsthand?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You should have seen all of just like the different paintings, the posters that people were wearing.
Yeah.
I mean, they had, you saw every Messi jersey that he'd ever worn throughout his career there at the stadium. But I mean, they had like a banner that filled the whole, like I
saw
the
it,
section
yeah.
I was in. Yeah, I was in that section, like at the bottom of that section, like right there behind the goal. So, I mean, you was able to see the huge mural that they had of Messi. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
Yo,
No, there's a dope mural of him downtown also.
Yeah.
I've
I just
never
wish
done
I'd been
this.
able to experience him over in Europe, like in some of those big, meaningful games. That'd have been crazy to see.
Yeah.
I've never done this in sports. I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
What?
Conspiracy
I'm not a
theorist.
conspiracy theorist. How you say? I'm not
Conspiracy
that.
theorist.
Whatever that is, you sound like you chopped it up. I'm not that. But if you go back and watch other angles of that free kick, that penalty kick, it seems like the goalie let him score. Right?
Oh, come on,
I wouldn't say
Brandon.
that.
Listen, look, he
Did you
runs
see where
over
he
to
placed
the right.
it?
He stops
I'm not
his
giving you
feet.
that.
Ashley, look at it. He runs over to the right. He stops his feet, and then he does this little baby-ass dive.
Hold on. Well, run the footage again.
Stop getting your takes from Twitter. You sound crazy.
Because chopping his feet. Well, because I guess he's chopped out of there. But where the ball comes in, like, look, it's in the top right corner of the goal. I don't care how good how far he jumped.
Oh my God!
It's inches away from the top left corner of that goal. That's skill. He placed that. It was curving
Corey,
in.
This is a grown man that lifts weights for a living. That's been doing this his entire life since he was 4 years old.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me he takes a 6-inch dive? But you got to see the whole footage.
He's fully extended too.
He tracks the kick. He sees where it's going. He makes his move to the right. He stops his feet, and then he does this baby-ass dive.
It's honestly insane that you are even trying to
doubting Messi's greatness.
Out there that Messi, one of the greatest, if not the greatest soccer player we have ever seen, needs someone to let him score an extra kick. This is a man who I witnessed score a goal in 60 seconds into a game, and you want me to believe that he needed someone to let him score?
Absolutely not.
To go ahead and secure that goal?
Ashley, come on. This is probably the biggest anticipated debut that we've seen in American sports. Like, I don't know what's bigger, okay? Maybe LeBron James going to the Heat. I'm not sure. So all this talk around Messi, this big deal, what he turned down from Saudi Arabia, then he comes over. He doesn't even start. He doesn't play. Now all of a sudden, they're tired with
nobody who watches soccer
Ashley,
knew he was not going to start. You're in the middle of the MLS season.
I saw your tweet. I seen your tweet.
He's coming fresh off of his off season. Why on earth would you think he was supposed to start?
I think it's out of respect to the guys there too.
But you have to look at the logistics of it. It's the middle of the MLS season. Inter Miami's last, and he's fresh off of his own season. That's not how that works.
That's fine, but do you not? But comes to the MLS, David Beckham goes out there and he gets his guy. Okay, he doesn't play. Now all of a sudden you bring him in at the end of the game and you have 20 people lined up in front of him. You know, I don't know soccer like that. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he hits the game winner. This is his debut to American sports.
I'm not entertaining this conversation any longer.
He played the whole second half. So it was really
I refuse to entertain this conversation any longer.
He did play 47 minutes. So,
well, you know what? We can move on because we have a what you called is one of the Cowboys GOATs. And I hate that. You know, I hate it because there gotta be one GOAT. All right. So this is a guy. We're going to introduce one of our vets, someone who paved the way for people like myself, someone who's done some amazing things in sports and business, and just the culture of sport. This is a guy who started this whole transfer portal. Corey, trivia. Mm-hmm. Do you know where Troy Aikman started playing college football and then where he ended up?
He ended up at UCLA.
All this talk around college football transfer portal. He ended up at UCLA, but where did he start? This is a guy that started the transfer portal.
Yeah,
before the transfer portal even existed.
Yeah, I know. I'm over here cheating too. I was about to just go ahead and search it up real quick.
Are you Googling, Corey?
I know. I caught myself cheating.
It's Oklahoma.
Really started at OU?
This is a Cali boy that made his way to Oklahoma, had a little culture shock. I don't know what the hell happened. He said, I'm going home. I got to get me back to Cali.
Good, yeah.
Ashley, do you know how many years he played for your team?
12.
How many Pro Bowls, Ashley? 6. Wow. Okay, I'm opening this up to the field. Do we know when he was inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Oh my God, I do. I can see the ceremony in my head. Hold on.
2 years later, he was inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame. This is a dude who, when you really look at his resume, I don't know whose resume is greater.
Man.
Maybe Michael Jordan.
I'm going to
say. I don't even know
say.
if Tom Brady has a resume like this. 2006, our guy Troy Aikman, one of Ashley's GOATs. Okay, I don't know how you can have multiple GOATs because GOAT stands for greatest of all time. 2006, he was inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. 2 years later, I don't know why the hell it took so long for the College Football Association to come along and say, okay, we need to put him in as well. Like, did you not see what he did the first couple years? He won 3 Super Bowls. So, Troy Aikman, welcome to Paper Route. We really appreciate you being patient with us.
Pleasure to have you
man,
on,
it's that was quite the intro there, Brandon. It's an honor to be on. Thank you.
Brandon likes to lay it on a little thick. That's what he's known for.
Right.
So
yeah, that was heavy, but that's okay. I'll take it.
Did I miss anything? Did we miss anything? Color commentator. He started that in 2000?
2001. Yeah, can you believe it?
2001, and then you had
since.
20 years, 21 year run at Fox. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Legendary.
Yeah, I never imagined. I thought I would do it for a few years and figure out what I wanted to do with myself. And here I am now getting ready to start, my 23rd year of broadcasting. So
wow,
it's been a great job. It's been a lot of fun. And I think probably the most enjoyable part of it all is just having an opportunity to have a relationship with the current players. I'd still be watching it if I wasn't calling the games, but I just wouldn't know the players like I know them now. So that part of it's been fun watching over the last couple of generations of kids.
I'm interested, Troy, because people say all the time that great players don't make great coaches. We hear that a lot in the NBA. I wonder, how come the transition when it comes to calling a game is drastically different, in that regard? Some great players also make great color commentators. Like, how has that transition been for you?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a hard deal to predict, I think, as to whether someone's going to be able to do the job efficiently or not. We've seen examples of people who've gone in and done really well, maybe people who didn't expect them to, and then others who haven't. But the big thing is that for me anyway, speaking on my behalf, that I've been around good people. I think it's kind of been the story of my career. I had great teammates in Dallas, and I'm now working with Joe Buck for the last 21 years. We're starting our 22nd year together. We
Unbelievable.
did to ESPN last year, so that created some change for us. But I think that's been a big part of why it's worked for me. And a lot of other guys come in and they get put in a lot like a quarterback or a player in the NFL. Sometimes they get put in tough situations and don't have the support from the network or from the people within the organization of which they're working. So there's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot of reasons why someone's maybe able to have some success with it and why they're not.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Troy, you're one of those guys, and I mentioned this in that big intro that I had. Like Ashley said, I like to lay it on thick, but you're a guy that leads the way, right? Like, I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for guys like yourself being able to break through. So we talk a lot in ball about the intangibles, quarterbacks, right? Like, do they have the intangibles? Do they have the it factor? All right. So when you transition into color commentating into TV, like, what are some of the intangibles that stick out to you that guys need to have? Because there's a lot of guys now that are like, this is what I want to do post-career, but they have no clue that there's a science to it. They have no clue that there's an art to it. And some of the guys, I feel, Troy, fail because they don't take that same work ethic that they did in ball to the booth. So what are some of the intangibles that you would look for if out in Troy Aikman or the next Tony Romo?
Yeah, Brandon, I would agree with that. I think that's true whether it's in broadcasting or any business that former athletes get involved in. I think the challenge as athletes, everyone knows what to do, and a lot of that, of course, is physical. There is the component of studying and being prepared mentally. And then when you get into other fields post-career, most of the effort is really mental. And I think that with broadcasting specifically, the part that I think maybe catches people a little bit off guard as former players is that because they feel they know football, that they feel they can maybe just step in, whether it's a pregame show or doing game analysis, which I do, that you can just rely on what you know about football. And I think that I don't think it works that way. I think you have to put in the work and you have to be prepared. And if you're not, then ultimately, I believe you get exposed. And so, yeah, you know football, but there's so much more to know than just the game itself when you're broadcasting a game or when you're doing a live event like myself. You got to know the players. You got to know a little bit about them and their background and how this team got to where they are. It's not just about talking about every play. I don't know that viewers really want to hear that over and over and over. They want some context to what's being said. So to me, that's rule number one, no matter what the business is or what the field, that you've got to put in the work. And if you do, and you're around good people, then I think you have a chance to make it work for you. But you're right that back when I played, the only two guys that we thought would go into television were Deion Sanders and Michael Irvin. We all thought, okay, those guys will, right? They'll go do TV, but no one else in our locker room. It just wasn't something that people talked a lot about or really aspired to do. And now I think most players, there's more opportunity, of course, but I think more players now talk about getting into television and broadcasting than they did back when I was winding down my career.
100%. 100%.
Well, I definitely want to dive into football. I mean, one of the biggest conversations that we're having this off season, and it feels like for the last few seasons just in general, are about running backs. And, has the running back position changed? Is the running back position still necessary? The Cowboys famously have utilized the run game so many different eras of the team and have paid their running backs handsomely because of that. Now we're in a new wave where guys like Saquon aren't getting paid. Zeke, obviously, no longer part of the organization for the time being. And we're seeing now hybrid running backs get those paydays, a cross between a running back and a wide receiver. So I want to ask you, do you think that a traditional running back, a real workhorse, will ever get paid or see a big payday in this new era of the NFL?
Well, I never want to say never, but the economics of that position, of course, have changed, and we've seen it, and not just this year, but it's been more pronounced this year with some of the great running backs that are up and feel that they haven't gotten, their opportunity. And I really feel for those guys because I was a quarterback who benefited from our run game and having a guy like Emmitt Smith, and of course the all-time leading rusher, and I don't know that anybody will even come close to doing what Emmitt was able to do because of the way that the game has changed. But
that's right.
We've seen so many lesser or lower round running backs step in a lot of these situations, and they've been able to have success. And when you're looking at a certain number of dollars that you're able to spend, and quarterbacks, of course, the franchise quarterbacks taking up a big part of that, the organizations have to decide how they're going to allocate those dollars. And unfortunately for a lot of these running backs, by the time they're ready for that big payday, history would suggest that they're on the downside of their careers. And so do people want to invest that kind of money? And I think the teams that have, a few of them have suffered by giving out those big contracts. So I really do hate it for all of these running backs. They've been pretty vocal, as you know, here over the last week or two with what has happened. And I hate it for those guys because they do give so much. And many of them, they are the focal point of those offensive teams. And yet they're being, I don't want to say punished, but what's that?
A lot of these running backs make up 40 to 45% of their offense.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And so I hate what's happened to those guys. I understand it from the organization's perspective, and I understand their frustration. It's a tough deal. They're the one position that aren't really being rewarded for the amount of work that they're doing and how important they are to their football teams.
Well, we've heard running backs say flat out that they feel like they're the most disrespected position in the NFL. Would you agree with that statement?
Well, I think they are respected. I do believe that they're respected. I think those organizations You take a Saquon Barkley, for instance. He's definitely respected within the organization. I just think that they're reluctant to do these big contracts. And even Saquon has come out and said he's not trying to reestablish the market. He just wants to be paid what he thinks is fair. I think his approach has been really, really good, and I'm a big fan of his. So I don't think it's a lack of respect. I think it's just the economics of the league right now and the salary cap and how they're going to allocate those dollars. And it's just unfortunate for those guys.
Brandon, is Brandon stuck? Brandon, are you stuck? Okay.
Well, I had a question. Troy, what do you think the Cowboys should do right now with Ezekiel Elliott?
Yeah, I do know that the Cowboys have tremendous respect for Zeke. And when you talk to people within that organization, Zeke has been one of the real leaders for that football team. And I've always believed that, there are those players. Zeke has been one of the great players for the organization. There are those players in a locker room. Sometimes they're not the great players, but they are really the glue within the locker room. And Zeke has been a performer on the field, but he's also been that guy in the locker room that galvanizes the entire group. So I'm sure they would love to have him. I don't know what that necessarily means in terms of being able to sign him and what it would take, and then what that might do to Tony Pollard and all that. So I think would they love to have Zeke in the organization? I'm sure that they would, because I know how much they love him and how much respect they have for him. What that looks like in a bigger picture with salary, and again how it works out with the other players on the roster, it's anybody's guess.
So listen, I have one more question before we move forward to another topic about this running back situation. I'm not sure how many games you call, but it seems like you're approaching maybe 450, 500 games. Maybe Troy.
I don't know.
You've forgotten more football than a lot of us know, right? You've called so many games, and like you said earlier, of our game. You played it at a high level. Can you describe to everyone listening how the game has evolved around the running back position, right? Like, you go back to Emmitt Smith, we're talking about a guy, like you said, all-time leading rusher, 22,000 yards, and we don't know if anybody will ever get close to that. But now, why are we approaching a running back this way? Can you talk a little bit of X's and O's and a little bit of, just strategy on what you've seen over the last couple of years on how the game has changed around the running back position, or just offensively, period?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think it's there's a lot to unpack with that, because what we've seen, I used to always feel that the NFL game influenced what we saw at the collegiate level. That changed many years ago. What's happening in the NFL is now really being influenced by the college game. And what we saw of the college game was the spread offenses and, all the things that they began to do. Quarterbacks started to utilize their abilities a lot more. You never used to see quarterbacks, whether they could run or not. Coaches just simply didn't want them to run. But that has become such a big part of a lot of these quarterbacks' game that it's just built into what they are doing offensively. But they still run the spread offenses. Some of that has been the development of offensive lines. It's become increasingly more difficult to have the kind of offensive lines consistently like those that I played behind in Dallas, to where you are able to just mash people and run the football. And so I think the passing rules also have led to the advent of more of the downfield passing game and taking advantage of some of those things as well. But I think the pendulum has begun to swing. And I think when you look at what San Francisco, for instance, has been able to do with their run game and the way that they tie that in with their play action game, I think more and more teams are beginning to see that as maybe the way to go. We've seen it from the Rams. We've seen it from Cleveland with Stefanski, and I like that style. It reminds me more of what I did, but that's why we've gotten away from the running game. And now you don't have as many Derrick Henrys that are the workhorse for their team. Now you see more 2 and 3 running backs on a team. They're spreading those carries around. They want guys that are multidimensional. You mentioned a Christian McCaffrey type guy who's able to be, both running back and receiver. And it just ties into a lot of the things that people are doing on the offensive side of the ball. But I do think that as we see more and more of these offenses have success running the football, that we're going to see more teams kind of go to that, because it is a copycat league, as you know, Brandon.
That's right. That's right.
I want to ask, when you think of Cowboy success, you think of Troy Aikman and the 90s Cowboys. It was the last time we went to the promised land. And I say we because I am a diehard Cowboys fan. Shout out to my dad. He raised me that way.
She's from New York, Troy.
All right. Way to go, Dad.
Thank you. Shout out to my dad. You can say hi, Jeff. He's watching right now. He instilled it in me. So I wonder, ever since then, the Cowboys are always on everyone's list to make it all the way, to go to the Super Bowl. But there hasn't been that same level of success. There's been seasons of mediocrity. There have been seasons of some playoff success. There's been seasons of it looks like they're going to go all the way. I wonder, one, what does this team need to do to get over the hump? And two, notoriously speaking, you think of the Jason Garrett era, a lot of fans grew weary with how many chances he was given to take this team all the way. With that in mind, how big is the window for Coach Mike McCarthy to bring this team to the promised land?
Yeah. Well, I know Cowboys fans are frustrated that the team hasn't gotten to a Super Bowl and hasn't even played in an NFC Championship game since the last one that I played in the 1995 season. The Cowboys have been one of the more talented teams in the league for quite some time, and they've won a lot of regular season games. I don't know exactly where they rank, but if you took the teams and you said, okay, who's won the most regular season games in the last 10 years or however long you want to go back, the Cowboys would be in the top 5, I would imagine. They've had some really good teams. It just hasn't, for whatever reason, it just has not translated into postseason success. They haven't won many playoff games really in the last 25 years. And it's a lot of times it's been one and done. So what do they have to do in order to get over the hump? The easy answer is that they've got to play their best football when the games matter most, and that's what they've not been able to do. And how do you do that? That's the $1 million question. It's just been unfortunate for them, and they've got another good team this year. I like what they did in the offseason. I love Brandon Cooks as a wide receiver. I've loved him since he came in the league. Stephon Gilmore on the defensive side of the ball.
Big pickup.
Another great pickup. So they're going to be able to compete with anybody in the league. And I think with that, high expectations come, of course. And Mike McCarthy this year taking over play calling is a big deal. I think Kellen Moore's done a really nice job.
Dinosaur, Troy. Dinosaur, Troy. Dinosaur. He was in Apple before the Cowboys picked him up. He was in Appleton, Wisconsin for a whole year trying to put together this new scheme.
He was in the barn.
They come out and he was in the barn. This is a true story. Troy, I just don't believe that he's going to come out and be innovative. So to me, it's going to come down to your playmakers. The biggest question is, can Dak Prescott overcome Coach McCarthy's shortcomings on a play calling side, on the innovative side? So my question to you is, all right, is Dak the guy? Can Dak overcome Coach McCarthy's shortcomings?
Well, I do think this. First of all, Brandon, I was surprised, quite honestly, when Mike got the job that he didn't take over play calling then. Because when he was in Green Bay, he did give up play calling for a period of time. And when he took play calling back, he said he would never give it up again because it's something he feels that he's good at and that he enjoyed. And so I was surprised by that, number one. Like I said, I do think Kellen Moore did a good job. So the offense is going to be different. You call Mike a dinosaur. He may very well be, but because he's not, now he's put himself out there. You always are out there as the head coach, but now if you're the guy calling the plays, they're going to have success on the offensive side of the ball. So to answer that part of the question, Jerry's becoming, he's never been an overly patient owner. He's becoming less patient. And what do they have to do in order is Mike in the hot seat right now? I mean, I don't know. If Bill Belichick is in the hot seat, I would say that just about every other coach is in the hot seat too.
You don't believe that, Troy?
It's a do or die season.
Belichick, you don't believe Bill Belichick's in a hot seat?
I would hope not. I mean, I just keep hearing about it. I'm not the one who's saying it. I just keep hearing it. They're saying, I'm like, wow, you've been to 9 Super Bowls in 6, and somehow, I mean, I don't know how that works. I mean,
right.
I wouldn't want to go into the profession of coaching if you're at risk of losing your job and you've been to 9 Super Bowls.
For where you sit and where you've been in the organization, the success that you have seen, knowing Jerry, knowing what the team wants, knowing what the organization wants, and that's to bring another trophy back to Dallas, what would you say if you were in the position to make that decision? How many more seasons do you give this team to work until you say, okay, it's not working? What's that next chapter, that next era look like? Like, how many more seasons of mediocrity or not going all the way does this team have until they try to figure out what it looks like after?
Well, I think, they've been trying to figure it out for a while. I think that in order to really honestly be able to answer that question, I think you've got to be inside the organization and just know there's got to be a belief that the direction that you're heading is the right direction, and the things are being done the right way to give yourself the best chance. I think at the end of the day, everyone understands that you do have to go out and perform, and you have to play, and it's not easy. I was always asked, how come more teams don't repeat as Super Bowl champions? And I would answer that and say, well, because it's not easy to go win the Super Bowl the first time. It's hard. And then to do it all over again the next year, it's not easy to do. And a lot of things have to happen. You've got to be fortunate, of course, with injury and all that. I'm not evading your question. I'm just saying that.
No, I agree.
It's been 20 plus years since
you're really good at it. You've been on television for 20 plus years.
You know what?
But I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if they don't make it this year, does that mean, okay, we're going to just, start all over again? I don't know. I don't know what Jerry might be thinking. I'm going to Cowboys camp on Wednesday. I'll ask him.
Thank you. Ask him and get back to me. I'm a firm believer, and Brandon and I get into this argument all the time. I'm a firm believer that the year of the Dez no catch call, that was the year the Cowboys were going to the Super Bowl, and that was the year we could have won the whole thing. I am a firm believer of that. I will die on that hill. We were robbed. That was our Super Bowl year. And it is just a frustrating time for me to even go back and remember how the refs just completely took away my chance to vividly remember a Super Bowl.
Ashley, it's a frustrating time for you and Cowboys fans, but it's also a frustrating time for football fans and sports fans because we're tired of hearing that every year. This is the year the Cowboys going to get it done. This is the year it's going to get it done. We just heard Troy Aikman say the last time he was in an NFC championship was when Troy Aikman was playing.
I'm aware, Brandon.
Is on
you hate us.
A business mogul. Like
Troy is on to different things.
You are the dinosaur, Troy, kinda. But like you're going to go down as probably we're going to know you more as one of the greatest commentators ever, one of the greatest businessmen ever. So I wanted to save a little time for that, right? So when I look at Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, even Tom Brady, LeBron James, and all these other athletes, Roger, the guys that transition into business, we talked about broadcasting. Troy, where do you rank amongst that list in business? Because you have quietly built an empire. Nobody knows. What is the net worth? What is Troy building? Right? Like from NASCAR to beer.
Yeah.
Get out of his pockets, Brandon. Dang.
Where are you at, Troy, amongst that? And then also describe to us the intangibles needed to build a successful company, and then we'll get into to 8.
Yeah, I think the list of athletes that you mentioned, I don't think I'm in their stratosphere, but but I'd like to be. I have been involved in a lot of things. I've been fortunate that, I had a NASCAR team. I was a part owner of the San Diego Padres. I've had car dealerships. Now I have my beer company that I've launched, and I've been involved in a lot of other things that I haven't been as active in. But it's all been really good. I think that, kind of going back to what I said earlier in our conversation, that it really, in my opinion, comes down to being willing to put in the work. Nothing comes easy. We all know that. And then being around good people, because Brandon, I've been involved and I've invested in some things that I thought were terrific concepts and great technologies, and they didn't work. And the reason they didn't work wasn't because the product wasn't great, wasn't because the technology wasn't what I thought it was. It was really because we didn't have the people that could execute it. And so that's been my takeaway in business, that I now, regardless of however something might look, and however favorable that might look, I won't get involved unless I'm confident the people that are involved in that can execute it. So I bet on people more than I bet on anything else. And it's worked for me. It's worked for me, as I said, in my athletic career. It's worked in broadcasting, and it's really worked for me in business. And over the years, I've had an opportunity to meet a lot of people, and there's some folks that have become mentors to me. And Roger Staubach, you mentioned him. He's been one of those people as well. But I just always wanted, and I think it's because of Roger and what he was able to do in the real estate business, that I wanted to do something beyond just football. And broadcasting's been fantastic, and I love my job and I love my career, but it still revolves around the NFL. And so that's really been why I've gotten involved in some of the things that I have. And it's why one of the reasons why, anyway, that I've gotten involved in this beer company that I started, that I'm real excited about.
Well, let's dive into the beer company. 8, obviously, your number that you famously wore with the Dallas Cowboys. I wonder, in your kind of assessing the market and, whether it was trying different beers or going different places and seeing what the competition was doing, what did you feel like the market was missing that your product provides?
Well, a couple of things. I worked at a distributorship in college. So that was my first foray into the beer business, right before I transferred from Oklahoma to UCLA. And then when I came to Dallas, I became really close friends with one of the largest distributorships in the country, and did a lot with them. I did some national campaigns for a particular beer. And so I like beer, but I looked at what was out there, and I just felt that what was on the market was a little tired, and I felt like I could do it better. And so I really wanted to make a beer that complemented my lifestyle. I've always been mindful of what I eat, my well-being, working out, all of those things, but I wanted to have a beer that complemented that. And so we went to work on this recipe. It was 2 years in the making. It's a light beer. That's all I ever drink is a light beer. So that was the first criteria. But what makes 8 different than anything else on the market is we have no adjuncts, meaning we don't add any corn, rice, syrup, or sugars. And we use 100% organic grains. And we're the only widely available beer that can say that they don't use adjuncts. So it truly is a better for you beer. It's the cleanest beer on the market. It's 90 calories and 2.6 carbs. So those measurables are important, and they're important to me. We hit those. We're as good or better in those measurables than any other light beer on the market. But the biggest differentiator is the fact that we don't have any adjuncts, and that makes it the cleanest beer available. And so I'm real proud of it. The flavor's great. And we're only available in Texas, but it's been really well received. And we just continue to work hard and get more and more people exposed to it.
Yeah, I don't know if you can make it out here. I don't know if you can make it out here, Troy, but I am rocking your merch. I have the 8 merch on. and luckily, I know you just made the point that it's only in Texas, but luckily I have the 8 beer right here. So, You know,
Yeah.
whenever,
Chug it.
Your
yeah,
shotgun,
whenever
Corey,
you guys
like I
give me
taught
the
you.
go, whenever you guys give me the go, I'm ready to crack this open. But
Yes.
yeah. But Troy, I mean, I wanted to ask you a question myself as
Hold on, time
I
out,
sip
Corey.
this
You're
this
not
beer.
going to taste it?
No,
You're
yeah, I
not
know. I
gonna
said I'm
taste
going to
it?
ask the question as I sip this 8 beer. Let me take a
I'm
sip.
sorry.
Let me take it. It's absolutely great. All of the
There you
details
go.
that you just shared with everybody, I can tell they're accurate. But Troy, now I just wanted to ask you, like, when was it
Getting
that
drunk
that
on the
you
show.
yeah, when was it that you made the decision to kind of jump into entrepreneurship, right? Like, when did this idea of 8 come about? Was it when you were playing? Was it something that was post career? Was it like, because you mentioned that, you know, your passion is football and you love your career on TV, but like you said, you wanted to dip into other avenues. So when was it that 8 came up, and when was it that entrepreneurship was something that you wanted to dive into?
Yeah, so shoot, the 8 beer. I guess now it's all close, going on 4 years. We've been on the market for a year and a half. You know, we'll be 2 years coming up, and so it was 2 years prior to that when we began talking about it. What I wanted to do with it. I met my partners through a mutual friend, one of whom has had a career in the beer business. So that was the impetus of it. And when I've never been in the business of just doing something for the sake of doing it. So I again, if I felt if we could do it better, then I wanted to do it. And I felt we could do it better, but we had to prove that. We had to go put the recipe together and see how it looked. So I just kept pushing. We partnered with Oregon State, and they've got a fantastic beer program within their food and science department, and the experts, the professors, and the people who put this recipe together just kept going back to them and saying, hey, how can we make it better for you? How can we, do it differently than what's on the market and make it as clean as possible? And so that's why it took some time for us to ultimately land on the recipe that we have. But that was the whole key. The other things that I've done in business, a lot of times it's just been opportunity that's presented itself that I've wanted to do. But at other times, like the car business, I had been in the car business when I was playing, and then I sold out to my partners. But I always knew when I retired from football that it was going to be something that I wanted to get back involved in, and I did. And then I ultimately ended up getting out of the car business as well. But I've just always had a desire to do something. It's just been, I've never been interested in just sitting back and not being involved. And I think that will always be the case for the rest of my life. And fortunately, like I said, I've just been involved with some really great people. And it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot, and have had some success along the way.
Brandon,
So
before you close things out, real quick question for people who are interested in the product. I know you said it's only available in Texas, but is there a direct to consumer option where you can get it shipped to you? Is that something that you guys are preparing to do in the future?
We're hoping to. We're not right now. We have had some conversations about moving outside the state of Texas, and there's a good chance that next year, in 2024, that we'll be in some of the neighboring states. Maybe beyond that, we'll see. If we are, then it means a lot of really good things are happening for us, and a lot of good things are happening. And we're looking at ways that we can expand maybe a little bit more aggressively. But Texas, as you know, is an awfully big state. We've still got a lot of ground to cover. And so we'll just continue to work hard like we have. And the key for us has really been that when people have tried it and they've been exposed to it, we've had tremendous repeat customers, and they've become loyal to the brand, which is a great sign for us. So that's the key for us, is just to continue to get people to where they have an opportunity to try it and get exposed to it.
No, Troy, we really appreciate you, and we love having these conversations around entrepreneurship and business. I'm a guy that, back in 2012, 2013, found out that that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I would do when I was done. Didn't know exactly what it was going to be. Now it happens to be in media and commerce. So learning from guys like you, it's a big deal. And, you know, I talked about the athletes that came before. You can even add the John Elways to that list. I know you're a humble guy. You know, Ashley and Corey, he's definitely, all the stuff that Troy has done, he's definitely top 10. I don't know
Stop
what his
pocket watching, Brandon. It's so
listen,
rude.
We're going to have to do some work. We got to let Troy go. But before you go, fun fact here, Ashley Nicole Moss, she taught us how to shotgun. So she knows how to shotgun beers. After every Dallas win this year, she's going to shotgun a beer, 8 beer at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes.
She's going to be one of your brand ambassadors this upcoming year. Cowboy season is
go,
going to be
Cowboys.
amazing. She also does, what is it called? Ping pong, beer pong. Beer
pong. Yes.
Yeah.
That's my
beer
game.
pong. She's a beer pong champion down at FAU. Does this thing come in? Does 8 come in a keg? Because she also loves keg stands. We're going to do a keg
What are you
stand.
doing?
Ashley's got skills.
Man.
It
Putting
does.
everything out there.
It does come in keg, and Ashley, I'll send you the 8 beer, and that way you have plenty of product on hand. This might be the year you need a lot of. They're going to win a lot of games.
Now you're gonna like it. You're definitely gonna like it.
Deal with the pain. Deal with the pain.
Yeah.
Troy, before we want to say thank you, but before we let you go, I wanted to hit this. As you go. But you made a comment. You said many beer companies claim to be American, but they're not. Can you explain that as you go?
Yeah, we did that campaign. It was really around the 4th of July. As we celebrated our country, I just encourage people to drink American, because there are a lot of beer companies out there that put an American flag on their package, and yet they're not American owned. And I just felt that as we celebrated America and the birth of our country, that we should celebrate it with beer, of course, but with an American owned beer brand, whether that was 8 or any other. So that was really kind of the message around 4th of July.
We love you, man. We'll see you in the booth. We're looking forward to the season. It's going to be amazing. Please join us in the season. Will you come back one more time before the year is over?
Absolutely. Anytime. Appreciate you.
Make sure you send Ashley that keg.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
To America's beer. To America's beer.
Man.
Bye.
All right.
Bye,
See y'all.
Troy.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate you, Troy.
Oh, my goodness. Ashley, okay, what's your GOAT now? You can't say GOATs. Out of all the Dallas Cowboys, give me one GOAT. You just sat down with Troy.
Stop putting me on the spot. I love them all. I love Emmett. I love Troy. I love Dion. I'm not picking just because you're trying to make me choose.
If I had to go one GOAT, it's hard, right? Like, you know, Emmett did something amazing. I can't go Dion. Dion wasn't there long enough. I think it really comes down. I mean, you can go Charles Haley. There's some guys on the offensive line, defensive line that never gets the love that they deserve. But it is hard, Ashley. It is hard. Like, this is one of those teams, like, it's like the Chicago Bears. Every time I walked into the facility, you know, I was surrounded by Dick Butkus and Mike Ditka and, you know, playing with Brian Urlacher and the Charles Peanuts Tillman and the Lance Briggs of the world. You got the Paytons of the world, Walter Payton. You know, like, there's some organizations like that where you walk in and there's just so many legends, the Dallas Cowboys, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you can go on and on. So it is hard, but life is hard, Ashley. We need an answer. The fans, the chat is saying it. They're saying, Ashley, pick a GOAT.
I don't see a single person saying that in the chat. So your chat must be different than mine. I don't know. Maybe your connection isn't great. Mine doesn't say that. Mine says Emmett Smith.
It's the same chat.
Mine says Emmett Smith. We have Tony Dorsett. We have Larry Allen. We have Emmett Smith again. Michael Irvin. Emmett Smith again. I don't see anything about Ashley having to pick a GOAT. That sounds like a Brandon thing. And I will not be peer pressured.
I bet if Mr. Jeff, your father, was on today, he would actually pick, because your dad.
He would say Emmett Smith.
Yeah, I was like, is it not an easy one? Is it not Emmett Smith?
He would be disappointing you right now. He didn't raise you not to be bold, Ashley.
He would go Emmett Smith. He would definitely say Emmett Smith. For sure.
I wanted to ask Troy this question, but I felt like it would be too messy, Ashley. You know, Emmett Smith benefited from one hell of offensive line, right? Mm-hmm. Like, statistically, he's the best running back to ever do it. But the question is he the best running back? Is he the GOAT, right? Because you take that offensive line away, is he Emmitt Smith?
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie, though. So the numbers are the numbers are.
Okay, I'll
numbers
take
say
that.
he's the best.
Yeah.
Before we move on, Corey and Ashley, what was y'all takeaway from this interview? What did you guys enjoy about the conversation?
I'll tell you what. There was one.
Go ahead, Corey.
I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I feel like there was one thing I took away from it. It was a short phrase he says. He's just be involved, and I don't know why I took that away from the interview, but just be involved. And with that, what I was able to take away is just assert yourself. Put the work in, because I think it was the point of the conversation where you had asked him, Brandon, like what are the intangibles for a player after they're done with football, and he made the point that guys kind of just rely on the fact that they just know football, but no, it's more than that.
Right.
When it comes to success, you got to just be involved, be around the right people, and just consume as much information as you can, obviously, to just better yourself. So be involved. I feel like that was kind of like what I took away from his from this interview.
Yeah.
Ashley, you?
I really did like that standpoint. I did like his honesty about, everything within the Cowboys organization. It is going to be interesting to see what happens with Mike McCarthy. I'm a firm believer this is a do or die season for him. But it was interesting to hear that I think from a player's standpoint, running backs in the NFL are still highly respected, but there's that contention between the players and how the players view them and how the league views them, how organizations view them. And, it is, unfortunately, it's disheartening, but it's realistic when you hear him say that he does not think that it's going to change, although he never says never. Economically speaking, where the league is headed, when people have only a certain amount of money to allocate to positions, you usually allocate it to the positions you get the most longevity out of. We know that, but hearing somebody who was intimate in a space where the run game was so prevalent and just so important to the success of the team say that, it's unfortunate. It's the reality of where the NFL is.
Right. For me, Ashley, I didn't agree with Troy on that one, because there's a saying amongst players, right? And you'll hear this a lot when guys are, at these stalemates with, in negotiations with their teams, and it's like respect, and what respect means to players is you actually stepping up to the table and meeting my value and paying me, cutting the check. And so I disagree with Troy on that one, because if you respect me, you'll pay me, point blank, period.
I hear it, but
but for me, before we move on, I will say this, I always love just catching up with vets, right? We could have sat there with Troy for 2 hours talking about Jerry Jones. We didn't even get into Michael Irvin stories. We didn't get into Deion Sanders stories. That's the best, right? Even business advice, asking questions, peeling back the layers there, getting his thoughts on certain things. I thought you asked an amazing question as far as what did he see? What opportunity did he see in the industry? But for me, just being able to catch up with legends like that means a lot. A guy like that. Think about Troy Aikman, 12 years in the National Football League, 6 Pro Bowls, 3 Super Bowls, a Super Bowl MVP, Hall of Fame NFL, Hall of Fame college, just decorated as it can get, to be still humble and so cool. That means the world to me. And there's so many more guys out there like that. And so it's always a blessing when we get the opportunity to sit down with men and women like that.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, absolutely. All right, guys. So what we're going to do actually is take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk Saquon Barkley. He interacted with a fan's tweet on Twitter. And we're not sure if he's really trying to send a message. So we'll dive into that when we come back.
Getting messy.
Yeah, it is. It is very much getting messy. And then we're going to talk about Jordan Poole. He had released an interesting video. I'm not even going to reveal what he was doing in that video,
God.
but we're going to talk about that for a little bit.
Let's go, Poole.
So yeah, we'll be right back. We'll hit those when we come back.
Can you tell them what green light means?
Oh yeah, when the green light come on, it's time to go, man. It's time to go. I actually, that was my name.
You smell me?
They called you green light?
Yeah, I learned all this shit from him. In the beach, oh my God.
The girls in the back.
We could talk for hours.
Green light here.
Okay. Hey, green
No,
light.
it's a song, by the way, it's a song.
Hold on, let me explain
It's a song
this
on the Best of Both
Let me
Worlds.
explain this though, because this is.
It's a song on Best of Both Worlds that called the Green Light. You don't know that song?
Oh, yeah,
Green
okay.
Light.
Yeah.
Every time I go in Magic City, that song come on.
Huh?
I make sure the DJ play it. I spend about 15, 16, 20,000.
On the song?
One song.
Yeah, on that song. Like
Yeah.
that's the time to go. It's time to go.
And you gotta realize, I'm young. I'm
5K
young.
in 3 hours in the strip club.
But I'm young,
that's
bro.
it.
Yeah,
I'm young.
petty.
No,
I'm spending more than 5,000.
I ain't even throwing my money.
I ain't doing one song, though.
Pac and Tish had to teach me how to throw money a couple months ago.
Listen, I
ain't know how to do it.
I spent $10,000 every Monday night for 10 years straight.
come on, and I matched you too. That's no
Want to
cap.
say that again?
I spent $10,000
Every
Monday night in Magic
No
City
bullshit.
for 10 years straight. No bullshit.
No bullshit,
For
bro.
10 years straight.
4.8. You,
Was it worth it?
hell yeah.
That's a great question, too. My finance advisor will be on my line. Shady McCoy. Man, listen, if you want to be broke, keep doing that. You know how they talk.
I mean, for me, yeah, it was worth it because it was a cultural movement. It wasn't even about the dances per se. It wasn't about me being this horny guy that wanted to see naked women, right? It wasn't about that. It was just about the actual cultural movement of what was actually happening.
We back. What's up, folks? So yeah, like I said before the break, we're gonna come back and we're gonna hit this Saquon Barkley. You're listening to Paper Route on yeah, Brandon, we're live, just so you know.
Hey, sometimes it'd be a little glitch. I didn't know we were back.
Nah,
Ashley,
man.
Nicole, Moss, Corey,
Yeah, we
Holmes,
rolling.
Brandon Marshall, BC in the booth, Corey in the cut, Corey stepping up as a great teammate and coming for me. I'm over here. I was actually, Corey, I'm watching ESPN.
Is that what happened?
In my over here on the right, listening to them talk about running backs, exactly what we're going to talk about,
yeah,
right?
that's
There's a lot
fitting.
of things that they're saying that I just totally disagree with, right? Remember, Corey, months ago, I said that these guys need to come together. Months ago, I said they need to have a meeting, some type of offset. You remember that conversation?
I do.
It's too late right now.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, y'all want to get on a Zoom call?
Yeah.
We're in camp.
This
Means nothing right now.
That's interesting.
Okay, Saquon Barkley, right? Like
Yeah.
you missed your window to really push the envelope. All these conversations and tweets should have happened months ago, before these deadlines, so you could actually end up with a decent deal.
Yeah.
And now we're here, Corey.
Wow.
So this is Paper Route presented by I Am Athlete, YouTube, Monday through Thursday, 12 to rack, 145-ish. Sometimes we go a little longer. Faction Talk Sirius XM, channel 103 for all of our listeners, people who are driving. There's a lot of people that drive and listen to us. Corey, did you know that?
I did know that on Sirius XM, like you said.
Do you
Faction
ever
Talk,
listen
channel
to us? Do you
103.
ever go back and replay? Like, as athletes, we go out there, we practice, we play games, and then we come back in and we watch a lot of film.
Sure do.
Do you watch film? Do you listen to yourself? Do you go back and replay our shows, Corey?
I do, but what I do is actually I go on YouTube. I don't listen to the podcast versions as much. I'd like to kind of get like the whole experience and be able to break down the film as you put it that way, just because I want to know what I look like on camera as well as how I sound. So. Yeah.
That's a light-skinned comment, Corey.
I mean, is it not? Because sometimes my posture might be slouched. Like I like my posture to look good on camera as well. So yeah, man, I gotta look at the visual and the audio.
So before the break, you teed up Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, absolutely.
I talked a little bit about it, went on a little bit of a rant. Well, what happened this weekend? What is Saquon tweeting? What's going on here?
So let's throw that graphic up there, BC in the booth. But there was this fan who kind of shared his opinion on the entire situation that Saquon Barkley is going through, and what he did was brought in Daniel Jones to the situation. He says when Daniel Jones had his 5th-year option decline, he didn't run to a podcast and start crying. He put his big boy pants. He put on his big boy pants, kept his mouth shut, and took the Giants to the playoffs. That's what real leaders do. Now, what Saquon did was reply to this tweet, which is now post and delete. It's not on his profile anymore. But he responded with laughing emojis, right? Suggesting that, like, maybe, forget what you're saying. This situation isn't the same. But what he did, like I mentioned, was delete this, but he still liked the post. And Brandon, what I wanted to ask you was, because the reply suggests, what I just said, like, forget that, it's a different situation, not the same deal. But if it was just a like and there wasn't a reply there, then I would suggest maybe he's coming around to the idea of just playing through, making the bag next year, but doing it for his teammates, for the Giants. What are your thoughts on just this whole interaction here?
Well, first, Corey, I told you that, some guys are built like that and some aren't. Right. And what I meant by that is there's only a handful of guys that's willing to go the distance, hold out, hold in, make it uncomfortable for themselves, make it uncomfortable for their team, make it uncomfortable for their teammates, right? Mm-hmm. To actually be selfish. Like, we're trained and groomed when we're babies to always put the team first. Mm-hmm. And that's why we're always at a disadvantage when we get to the table and we start negotiating when we get to the pros. Why? Because the teams and the leagues are always going to say, you know what, we're putting business first, is about the bottom line. And guess what we bring to the table? We bring our teammates in. We bring the fan base in. They have no seat at that table, but that's what we do as players, and that's why we always lose, especially when it's a hard negotiation and it takes time. So Saquon Barkley, for me, is not that type of guy that's going to go the distance. Now, do I think he'll make it a little bit uncomfortable? Yes. What do I mean by that? Will he show up late to training camp? Maybe. Will he hold in? Probably. Will he potentially maybe not do anything till week 1 or maybe into the season? Yes, I do believe he'll do that. But at the end of the day, Saquon Barkley is going to be there. And probably at this point, it is the best business decision to go out there and take the $10 million to play on that tag. Why? Because you're not going to get it anywhere else. Now, what I believe Saquon should do is come in, hold in, make it a little bit uncomfortable. And this is what all these other running backs should be doing as well. Well, if I actually run the ball more, if I have more yards, and you heard Nick Chubbs talk about this yesterday after training camp practice, that actually, hurts me in the long run. The running back position, if I perform better, if I have more yards, then now you're going to say, well, that's more wear and tear on the body. So what I'm going to do as a running back now is say, well, I don't want to tote it 25 times anymore. I won't tote it 25 times anymore. There's only a handful of guys that can do that. The Derrick Henrys of the world, the McCaffreys of the world, the Alvin Kamaras of the world, the Chubbs of the world, the Saquon Barkleys, right? Like, these dudes are highly sought after commodities, right? So they're able to come in and say, you know what? I know I make up 45% of this offense, but guess what? Not no more, right? I'm not going to do that to myself. So I'm only going to tote it 15 times. And now, if you want to give me the ball more, you want to make up the difference, put me out there in the slot. So what happens is when you get back to the table, now you're actually able to approach it like Alvin Kamara did. Yeah. I'm actually a running back / slot. You're actually able to approach it like Christian McCaffrey did. I'm actually a running back / slot, right? We're talking about Alvin Kamara, 81 catches, 83 catches, 83 catches, 83 catches, and then he gets a big bag. You're talking about Christian McCaffrey. I think he had 83 catches last year. You got guys out there like Eckler, who had 107 receptions last year. Right. That's more than 95% of all wide receivers. So when you think about this tweet, and I'll get to the tweet here, when you think about this tweet, to me, I said it, a couple of weeks ago, Corey? I said, this is where it gets uncomfortable for players. And this is why most players break, right? Because you have fans that come out and they're going to say things. Not everybody's going to be on Saquon Barkley's side. Majority of the people, I would say, are on the Saquon Barkley side. Troy Aikman said it. He loves how he's approached his business, right? A lot of athletes, a lot of coaches, a lot of general managers, owners are saying he's actually doing a very good job of keeping it very professional and taking the high road. Now, he's come out, said a few things here and there, but people still respect him. But there's still people out there who are going to say things like this. Daniel Jones, are you kidding me? I wouldn't even entertain this. Everybody knows that we're talking about Daniel Jones. Why did they decline his 5th-year option? Because they said they deemed him as a bust. Yeah, right. They said there was no way he was going to be able to turn his career around. But what happened? They brought in Brian Daboll. Saquon Barkley was actually healthy. Saquon Barkley did his thing. Saquon Barkley led his team in receptions last year. He had 53 receptions. That was more than any wide receiver on that roster. Saquon Barkley wasn't the running back. He was the New York Giants offense. He made it better for Daniel Jones. And just like Troy Aikman just said when he was just sitting with us not too long ago, he benefited from an amazing running game. And that's what a healthy offense does. It helps out their quarterback by being able to put some of the load on a running game. That's the offensive line. That's the tight ends. That's the running back. Saquon Barkley does that. And so this whole tweet thing just shows that Saquon is now seeing some of the stuff out there, and he's getting a little uncomfortable. He's getting uncomfortable with it.
Now, what do you make of the Giants signing James Robinson? Right, like, I mean, he's a guy of a starting running back caliber. We're not knowing right now if he's going to be more of a replacement or is he going to be a guy that splits carries or backs up Saquon in the event that he comes back. What do you make of that transaction or acquisition rather, if you're Saquon?
I just said it, Corey. It's a business, right? So owners, general managers, presidents, head coaches, it's all a numbers game, right? So even with the salary cap, right? How much are we going to allocate to this particular unit, this particular player, this position, right? It's all about the bottom line. So when you think about numbers, you have an opportunity to have a certain amount of guys on the roster. Saquon Barkley is unknown. They don't know if he's going to show up. They don't know what he's going to do. So they have to fill that spot. They have to have enough bodies to be able to come in that can make it through training camp. So it doesn't trickle down to the other guys on the field, right? Like, no Saquon Barkley, that means there's more production, more action to the wide receivers, more action to all of the other running backs. So you need to be able to have two things: bodies, okay, for training camp. You see a lot of guys go down during this time. And you also need to be able to be prepared for the season, right? So if Saquon Barkley, like others, may not show up, like you got Josh Jacobs out there saying that he may not play until week 1 or nothing in training camp. And then so he's going to come out. Is he really going to be ready for week 1? So you need to have guys ready to go. So this is the Giants doing giant things, business, right? This is not a knock on Saquon Barkley. That's just making sure that they have enough guys, enough bodies to be able to make it through training camp and start the season. Yeah,
I think that's the best point you made right there, Brandon. You kind of took me back when you said it affects not only the running back group and the amount of production they'll need on them in camp, it affects the wide receiver group too. That's more pass plays you got to run in team. That's just more route running you got to do, more running. So to save the legs, you bring in another running back to kind of satisfy that group. But yeah, Ashley, we wanted to get your thoughts really on just this whole situation. Him reacting, to that fan's tweet of he needs to put his big boy pants on and be a leader. And then also, the Giants acquiring James Robinson in the interim.
To answer the first part regarding the fan's tweet, it's always interesting to me how people will chastise your reaction to the disrespect, but never what got you disrespected in the first place. And what I mean by that is fans are quick to say so-and-so should get paid or so-and-so deserves not to get paid. And then when they react to that, the organization doing just that, then now all of a sudden they're the bad guy. For Saquon, his reaction to the disrespect of not getting paid, allowing this to drag out, especially when he's such a prominent part of the Giants offense, is not the catalyst for the situation. Like, you can't have B without A. So for me, it's always interesting how people want athletes to just roll over and play nice when things don't go their way. But if roles were reversed and they were up for a payday and they didn't get it, they would feel a type of way about that. So I never understood why fans, and I use that loosely because I feel like if you're a true fan, you want your guy to get paid because you know what he means to your team. Never really understood that mindset of fans. It's very backwards to me. So I will say this, though. Saquon had the opportunity to maneuver this space a little bit differently. He chose his route. Obviously, that route didn't go ahead and equal what he wanted the outcome to be. And he has a decision to make. Either he deals with that or he doesn't. But he chose to deal with this entire saga a certain type of way that got him a certain type of result. So in that regard, that's nobody else's fault but his own. Now, again, I'm not knocking the way he went about it. That's his personality. That's how he wanted to. But every action has a reaction. And this is what that was.
Yeah, and there's some interesting things out there, Ashley and Corey. I was reading Pro Football Talk last night, and there's still some options, right, for guys like Saquon, even Josh Jacobs, right, where you think they had that deadline. I think it was July 17th at 4 p.m. Yep. They missed that. If they couldn't agree to a long-term deal, then that's it. You can't negotiate any long-term contract. However, you can negotiate a one-year deal, right? So they don't have to take this $10 million. Now, there's nothing out there that says that a team will do this, right? But this article laid out a few scenarios where if the Giants and Saquon or the Raiders and the Josh Jacobs, if they want to actually get through this year, they can go out there and say, you know what, we'll pay you more. Or they can go out there and say, you know what, we're going to give you this tag, but we're going to guarantee that we don't franchise tag you after. And that's been done before. There were some examples out there of teams doing that in the past. So there's still some room to negotiate, but it'll be on a short-term deal, a one-year deal. Now, I don't know if that's what Saquon and some of these other running backs that's still, in this position, if their teams are aiming at that, but that's certainly there. I want to say this as well, Ashley. I remember months ago, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but remember I was like, yo, these running backs need to come together. And I didn't just say like come together. I said what? They need to have a meeting and discuss these things. They need to come together and put together a plan. So maybe the Saquon Barkleys and the Dalvin Cooks, and even you can throw Ezekiel Elliott out there and some others, right? Like they're unified and they actually benefit this year, right?
So you think Austin Eckler took your idea?
No, I'm not saying they took my idea, but it's just too late, right? Like, it all starts with unity. Why are we going to wait a couple of days? Not even a couple of days. There's some teams already in training camp. Yeah. There's running backs that's already in training camp. I was flying out here to West Coast in first class. I want to say that, so now I'm always in first class. Sometimes I'm in exit row and, balling on a budget, entrepreneur. We just talked about that with Troy Aikman, but I'm in first class.
God.
5-hour flight. And there's a running back, an active running back sitting next to me. He passes the phone to me. Pro Football Talk article on the cell phone. I'm like, what is he giving me? And it's like, the running backs are gathering on a Zoom call, all the top running backs. He's like a second tier running back. And he's like, all the running backs is gathering on a Zoom call to talk about, what they can do. And his response was like, there's nothing they can do. There's nothing. It's too late. It's way too late, Ashley. If they would have actually did this right before free agency, right after free agency, before these deadlines, then they would have had more leverage. They would have had a better plan, and things could have gotten done. And so like I hate to see the running backs in this position, and it sucks. And the last thing I would say to this, Ashley and Corey, a lot of this talk is about running backs. A lot of this talk is about the position, the value, how the game has changed. But to me, the problem is more so these damn franchise tags. Now, I like to go on rants here and there. That was another rant that I went on a couple of months ago. And what did I say? The franchise tag is not a fair deal and has no place in football. That's the problem, right? Like these guys work their ass off to get to the position at all positions. And when you get to free agency, you should be able to get to free agency. You shouldn't have these transition tags. You shouldn't have these franchise tags. It should be open market. So the next collective bargaining agreement, to me, this is the number one priority if I'm in that position. Now we have a new player director coming in or president coming in to lead the NFLPA, and this should be his number one priority. But we have to wait years to get back to the table. And that should be priority number one. We should rip up the franchise tag. We should rip up all these transition tags. We shouldn't be able to do that. So that's my rant. And that's what I have to say about the running back thing. I know this is a big topic. Everybody's talking about it. And we'll probably be talking about it up until the start of the season. And then everybody forget about it and move on.
Yikes. Anything to add there, Ashley?
I have nothing. I have nothing.
He said everybody's gonna forget about it. I mean, I hope not, but no. But I hear you, Brandon. That is kind of the reality of the situation. So we'll obviously be following that and see what happens there. But moving on. So another story, right? We were following, I'd say last week and all the way up until today, was Jordan Poole. So Jordan Poole, if you guys remember, his name came up last week because Draymond Green appeared on the Pat Beverly podcast, and on that podcast they were talking about, basically the situation with Jordan Poole and how that came about. But in response, that prompted Jordan Poole's dad to kind of share his thoughts on the whole entire situation, and then it was kind of some irony in the timing of this video, but Jordan Poole was found training, at a gym. Let's take a look at that video real quick.
Oh, this video. What's going on here?
Get that get back.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like,
So we got Jordan Poole putting in work in the gym, and obviously, if you're not familiar with the situation,
there's a problem with the man boxing. Like he's not allowed to box now.
It's like, was it for cardio? Was it to let people know that he got hands and it could have ended differently for Draymond?
Oh my God.
What is this about?
Let him know next time it ain't going down like that.
Right.
Y'all really need to let this go. Like it's over. It's done with. Like it happened. Draymond's still talking about it. Jordan doesn't want to talk about it. He is allowed to box.
What you mean Draymond doesn't want to talk about it?
I said Draymond's still talking about it. Jordan doesn't want to talk about it. Like we just gotta move past this.
It's like, does he, or is he trying to ride the wave now with posting that boxing video?
Don't post the video.
Yeah,
he doesn't even want. He's been asked. He's literally been asked about Draymond multiple times, and he does not want to speak about him. The man's just boxing. Like I don't think it's like this deep thing, like this think tank thing. I don't think it's that deep.
It's not that he doesn't want to talk about it. He wants us to talk about it. That's why he's posting these things. That's why he's going out there and posting lyrics to songs. That's why he's going out there and posting boxing.
Yeah.
We're talking about Draymond responding to something that happened a year ago, and now you're boxing and your form looks like this. Like his trainer set him up for failure. Ashley, there's techniques, there's things that you can do in the gym to make you look better. Like his feet work is horrible. Right, like the way he's punching, like I can see why he got knocked out.
Not feet work, it's footwork.
Same thing.
Hey, I got a question.
I ain't go to school for I ain't go to school for school. I went to school for football. Actually, they asked me when I was in college. I was walking. I went to UCF, right? So I'm walking from one side of campus to the other, and this gentleman walked up to me. He's like, "Hey, Brandon Marshall, man, I love the game, man. We saw you against Tulane last week." And he said, "Man, I have a lot of respect for you." He said, what's your major? and I looked at him. I said, "My major is football." Ashley, I went to school for football.
Hey, I got a question though.
Will West said he got a question.
Who taking that 5-round 3-minute match, AD versus JP? Who's taking that?
AD versus JP.
You talking about Anthony Davis? Remember we watched film on Anthony Davis a few weeks back?
We watched footage on it.
Yeah.
Hey,
who looks better?
What you mean AD versus JP though?
Anthony Davis put out a video
Jordan
a
Poole,
couple weeks ago of him boxing.
Oh Lord!
In the ring, does he want to fight Draymond too? Maybe he's preparing to fight LeBron. You see how crazy that sounds? Like,
I mean, to answer your question,
Ashley,
probably
this
Anthony
was real.
Davis.
Yeah, just off of weight, right?
Yeah,
I
just
wouldn't watch it.
I
I wouldn't watch it. Especially not like Jordan Poole, poor Jordan Poole.
Right.
Like you everybody got to admit when they saw that punch, boom, he fell into the wall. Draymond grabbed him, hugged him. Even Draymond immediately felt bad for him. He grabbed him and held him up. He didn't even let him hit the ground.
Draymond didn't feel that bad because he's been talking about it since, and he said that, there's just some things you don't say to a man, and that's what he had coming to him. Like, I'm not buying that Draymond feels bad. Now all of a sudden he's not singing that tune. Now all of a sudden Jordan deserved it. It's like pick a story and stick to it. Like I don't even care anymore.
Right.
So that's why Jordan got to train.
Right. Yeah,
Because it's still active.
That's why he's
Jordan Poole just need to go invest in security everywhere he goes, because that ain't it. I'm telling y'all right now, that ain't it. No, you're gonna get knocked out. Don't go out there thinking, oh yeah, I took a couple classes, I'm ready to go. So the next time one of your teammates try you feel Brody and you want to boom boom puff out your chest, and no, that ain't it. You go in the nightclub, something happened. Now you're like, yeah, I took these classes. Let me test out these hands. There's gonna be another story on TMZ. Jordan Poole knocked out again. Like, just invest in security, Jordan Poole. That's it.
No. Oh no. Well, look, I got another story for you guys. I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on this. Kylian Mbappé. He's set to potentially, he'd have to accept this offer, but potentially be making some record amounts of money. So the Saudi Arabian club now forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, Al Hilal, I believe that's it.
It's close, baby. That's good. We got you.
There we go. Is offering a record $332 million bid for Mbappé. So how that works is that club is offering that to PSG, Mbappe's current club, and that's just to acquire him. So all of that money would just go to PSG. And then the contract that they're offering Mbappé pays roughly 700 million euros per year. That is per year.
1 year. 1 year.
Say that again?
It'll be a 1 year deal. It'll be a 1 year deal
that's
because
a per
he
year
wants
rate,
to
isn't
go
it?
to no. So it'll be a one. You said, yeah. Well, yes, but it's a 1 year deal.
I get you.
Because he wants to go to. It's a 1 year deal because he wants to go to Real Madrid.
Right.
Correct.
Right. But $775 million in that 1 year. I mean that's incredible. I mean, we were talking about Messi at the top of the show, but this, Mbappé, he's next up. He's definitely next up. What you guys think about this?
There's a lot to this. When I was in Africa and also in France, I had an opportunity to hang out with a few football players there. They don't like to be called soccer players. And I actually was hanging out with Genie, one of his teammates now at PSG. So he gave me a lot of inside information, right? So what we have to understand is PSG, this is Mbappe is born and raised there. Like he is like their pride and joy, their golden boy. And so the team will look foolish. The whole country will turn against PSG if they let Mbappe go. But Mbappe doesn't want to sign a long-term deal there. He refuses to sign a long-term deal there. So now what's happening is you have PSG saying they're not even going to play him at all this year, right? And this is unprecedented.
That's not
this you got to read, Ashley. I'm telling you.
I know, but you have it a little bit off.
Okay, tell me where I'm off.
So
help me out.
Mbappe wants to leave PSG. So he's saying he's going to sit out the entire year. It's not PSG's not going to play him. He's making the decision, I'm not going to play this entire season.
No, that's not that's not the article I read, Ashley. The article said the opposite, that the team left him off of their friendly, I forget where they were playing, right? It was like it hasn't started. I think the Premier League starts August 11th maybe, so they're still in their friendlies. But the team, what I read, Ashley, is that the team said, we're not going to play them this friendly or maybe not even the entire year. So, maybe, Wu, you can fact check that for Ashley and I and see what the facts are there.
It says that after he was left, they left him off the roster, but it's because he has made it clear he does not want to play for PSG anymore. He wants to go to Real Madrid. So they're obviously not going to play someone who doesn't want to play, which is why they're trying to accept a buyout. But from what I'm reading, he's not interested in playing for Saudi Arabia, despite the money. He just wants to go to Real Madrid. Now, if PSG isn't able to move him by the summer transfer deadline, which is September 1st, the club will need to wait until the winter window of January 1st, 2024. So if they opt to sit him in order to protect his transfer fee value, they'll do that. But they're not sitting him because they just don't want to play him. He has made it clear, I don't want to be here. I want to go to Real Madrid. So they took him off the roster, are accepting deals for him, transfer deals for him. He doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia from what I read. So if they can't reach a deal by September 1st, basically they just won't play him all season to increase his value. So when Real Madrid tries to buy him, he's at his highest thing.
I will say this, Ashley, all running backs, all American athletes should be paying attention to this. I think there's more to this than just, the logistics around the deadlines and this person wants to go here. The team, I think it's getting really messy. I think it's been messy, right? And so Mbappé is willing to get uncomfortable. The things that I've been talking about around Saquon Barkley and some of the other guys. Some of these guys they're not willing to get uncomfortable, or it just doesn't rub them the right way. And so all athletes should be paying attention to this. This is how you leverage your prime years. This is how you get what you want. But I will say this, Ashley, how do you turn down a 1 year, $700+ million deal? I don't think you can.
It's because you're playing for the Saudis. That's how. What do you mean?
Ronaldo took it. Yeah, I was gonna say, it hasn't proven too bad for Ronaldo.
Messi didn't take it. That's what I'm saying. Different people prioritize different things. Ronaldo didn't have an issue taking the money and playing for the Saudis. Messi did. And from what I'm reading, it sounds like Mbappe is in the same boat.
So let me ask you this question.
Not interested in playing for the Saudis.
So let me ask you this question, Ashley. Mbappe is... What do you want Mbappe to be your son? You want Mbappe to be your husband? This is just a hypothetical. So I'm trying to paint a picture right now. Mbappe, let's say, all right, I'll do it. Mbappe is your son right now, Ashley Nicole Moss. He's your son, okay? You got married to, you're athletic, allegedly. You got a big game tonight in Yankee Stadium. Hopefully you hit a home run. Hopefully you get a couple grounders. We'll see. But then you go out and you marry a guy who's also athletic, and then y'all have Mbappe. Here comes Mbappe, okay? So Mbappe's here. And now he has $770 million on the table from the Saudis. Are you telling him to take it? Are you for 1 year? Or are you saying, you know what, son? Just go to Real Madrid. What are you saying? What type of advice are you giving to your son, Mbappe?
Well, first of all, it's not like the Saudi league is a great league or a great team.
Oh, Lord.
It's not. So let's just put that out there. It's not like he's going to a premier team.
Ronaldo's there.
Ronaldo took the money. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with taking the money. Some guys don't want to take the money. So let's play a hypothetical game, right? Let's say he goes ahead and goes to Saudi, which is basically PSG is trying to screw him to get him to go to Saudi Arabia, instead of allowing him to sit out. Say you go over there and you get hurt. Now when it's time for you to leave and you want to go to Real Madrid, what's to say Real Madrid's going to be like, I don't know. Maybe.
You already got
some people don't, the money, some people does not. For some people, the money doesn't motivate them like that.
It's $1 billion.
Some people
take an injury.
Multiple players come out. You are literally we've seen Messi not take that exact money. So it's not like everyone maneuvers the same way. Not everyone thinks the same way. Some people, it's not about that much money. He doesn't want to play in Saudi Arabia. He doesn't want to play for the Saudi. I don't.
Well, let's not use Messi. Let's not use Messi as part of this case study, because
he's towards the end
Messi in the long run is going to come out greater as an owner. His media rights and deal, that the piece that he gets there, so he doesn't get more up front, which he would have if he went to Saudi. But long term, Messi's going to come out greater, right? So, look. Mbappe, he doesn't want to be there. He wants to be at Real Madrid.
And he's only 24, Brandon. Put that into perspective.
I know.
Well,
when Ronaldo took the money, Ronaldo took the money at a different stage in his career. He's a lot older. He's accomplished a lot more. And for him, okay, whatever. I don't have anything to prove,
Yeah.
Isn't that
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing with what Saudi's doing. Saudi is challenging all sports, right?
Yeah.
They did it with Live Golf, right? And they forced the PGA to partner with them, to merge with them.
But that's different in golf. I mean, that's different in soccer, though.
Well, I mean, they're challenging all sports. I think we had the conversation around the NFL. Can the Saudis actually challenge the NFL, with all their money, right? Like, that's what they're doing here. So there's $1 billion to them is like $1 million. People got to understand this Saudi money, this oil money is totally different. So there's going to be some real decisions like big time players going to have to make. And I can see this trickling over to basketball. I think it's going to be hard in the NFL. I don't think they'll be able to challenge football because it's not a global sport. I'm talking about global sports. Tennis could potentially be challenged here. So you're talking about someone coming and being able to offer you money that you can get in 1 year, 2 years, opposed to an entire career in another league.
But think about it this way. Like, Mbappe is only 24. He's already worth around $200 million. You're comparing him to Ronaldo, who's over 10 years older than him, has been playing in the league a lot longer than him, and has accomplished a lot more than him. So for him, it is maybe just all about the money. At 24 years old, $200 million, some people don't want to go and play for a league that they're not going to win in, that they potentially may get hurt in, when at the end of the day, when he signs with Real Madrid, with all the other endorsements, and if he wins, he's going to make that money up regardless. So why would you go and play for a league?
He's not making that money up. I don't think he's going to make that money.
Not $775 million.
Not 700.
We're talking career money. We're talking endorsement money. He'll get close to making that money again.
What's keeping Mbappe from signing this 1 year deal and then going to Real Madrid after that 1 year deal?
Some people don't want to play for the Saudis. It's called integrity. It's not like you're going to America.
So answer the question, Ashley, that I asked 15 minutes ago. Your son. What are you doing? What advice are you giving him?
I'm saying, listen, don't go there.
Okay,
don't
cool.
do it.
That's it. That's good. That's great. That's great.
It's not worth it.
Did we ever talk about this publicly? I think you did. You talk about the challenge you had in college where somebody offered you to go to Dubai.
Yeah, someone offered me $500,000 to go to Dubai, and I didn't take it.
Because I'm wondering, is it the culture? Is it that they don't like? Because Saudi Arabia is a beautiful place. So, like, what is it that athletes are straying away from?
It's the politics, bro.
The politics.
It's the politics behind
all of that, bro. Like, it's deep, bro. It's deep.
It goes very deep.
I know it's what they're investing their money into, but like, is it
literally not only is it deep politically, but they had to literally change the law so that Ronaldo and Georgina could live there and not be married. Like, that's. There's a lot going on there.
There's
like,
a
some
lot going
people
on
just
there.
don't want to deal with that, and that's their
Mbappe, 24 years old. I mean, I feel like you were kind of making all the points that would justify him maybe just hopping on the little 1 year deal. I mean, you're young. You've made a lot of money, but like, just secure this incredibly large bag for 1 year.
For him, he does not want to go play in Saudi Arabia.
Well, we don't know that yet, right? Because
that could be the same. That could be the same conversation in other sports in other countries. Russia, France still have challenges. Italy still have challenges.
Yes, but you cannot.
The UK still have challenges. Even in the United States, people could look at how we operate in the United States and say, why the hell would I go to the United States?
You cannot compare the challenges of Europe to the challenges of Saudi Arabia.
That's fair.
It's drastically different, culturally drastically different. You're talking about a guy who's a European national, who born and raised in France. That's his life. Europe has been his life. It's just, for some people, it's bigger than the payday. For some people, it's a lot of intangibles, the word of the day. Some people, it's not for them. Now, he may change his mind, but the report that I read says he has no interest at this point. It was 4 minutes ago that this story came out, that he has no interest in going over there. So only time will tell if he changes his mind.
Right. Brandon Marshall here, Ashley Nicole Moss, Corey in the cut, Woo Out West, BC in the booth, and Mander Legend. Mander Legend is back this week and running-ish. Great day today.
It was.
Great show. Troy Aikman, Ashley, agreed to terms with 8 elite lager.
Shotgun.
Right? She's going to shotgun after every Dallas Cowboys win live on her IG. Is it going to be IG or is it going to be TikTok, Ashley? Have you decided yet?
I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead.
It's going to be your platform.
You really
of choice.
signed me up for a shotgun every time the Cowboys win a game. That's
I was shocked when you told us that, like, you're like Shotgun Queen.
I went
You
to
know how to do cakes.
college and I had fun in college.
We all went to college. No, that don't mean
Well,
we
I went
did
to
keg
college in South. I went
stands
to
and did
college in
beer
South
pong.
Florida, though. Like and that was like during like
That's
the
even
best.
worse.
That was even cool. It was like the era of the big three, and like all the clubs were lit and popping and cool.
Exactly.
Like, yeah,
So why
beer
are you?
pong.
So why are you at frat parties and sorority parties playing beer pong when you could have been at
tailgate.
Live nightclub?
I was at Live nightclub,
You're doing too much, Ashley.
but Live was Sundays. Games were Saturdays.
That's what happens at Wisconsin and Nebraska, those type of schools.
What are you saying? We would tailgate, and at the tailgate, there were keg stands, beer pong. Listen, it didn't affect my college experience at all. Yes, I partied, I hung out, did the club scene, but I graduated with a 3.8 GPA. So I may have partied, but I also graduated magna cum laude, so I handled business. You know,
Oh, wow.
business during the day, party at night. It's called balance.
That's really good. What about high school? What was your GPA in high school?
I graduated high school with 3.0, but that's also because like senior year and stuff, I got.
See,
a little
he talking about
lazy.
See, that's the test, because I feel
I
like
got
you
into-
can
I got into some
manipulate the
fights.
system in college. I think you can manipulate the system in college. High school GPA is what matter.
No,
That's
because
the
high
real-
school GPA, like, you know, you, especially senior year, you don't go to class as much.
say it
You
might
don't
be the
try as
opposite,
much.
actually, Brennan.
You're on your way out. Like, you just, by senior year, you just stop caring.
Yeah.
Ashley Nicole Moss.
Yeah.
Hey,
Did Mr. Jeff know about this? Did Mr. Jeff
My parents know.
about-
Listen, my parents used to say all the time, they didn't really care what I did in college, but if I ever brought a C home or anything, I was only allowed to get B's in math because that's my like weak subject. Everything else had to be A's. So if I brought anything less than an A's and one B home, my dad told me that, because my parents paid for my school. So my parents said, my dad specifically said, if you bring anything home less than those grades, you need to go fill out an application at McDonald's somewhere and go get a job because I'm not paying for you to go to school and just half-ass it. So I did really well in school, but I also enjoyed my time. I had fun. So I have a lot of cool memories from
and you
school.
were referring to college, right? You were referring to college just then?
Yeah, from college.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and I
Ashley,
wasn't trying to go
what's,
work at McDonald's,
that's
so
tough. That's tough,
it
yo.
wasn't.
No, A's and
Ashley,
B's
what's
in college.
18 divided by 3?
I'm not good at math, Brandon.
I know,
But you-
18 divided by 3.
6?
Fact check. 3.
Yeah,
You don't even
that's 6.
know it.
I was giving her some.
Fact
I was
check.
giving her some time.
Why are you pausing? You don't even know.
All right, Ashley, talk to us a little bit about tonight. Have you decided if you're going to be the coach or the player tonight, because you're coming off of a gruesome injury?
It's not
and being on PR?
Gruesome.
You had surgery.
Okay. So I'm on Tracy Morgan's team. My coaches, my base coaches are Fat Joe and Sean Pekka, so that's gonna be cool. We're playing against a team with Ja Rule on it, Action Bronson. But listen, I may have them like put me in the outfield, or I may stay on third base. I'm gonna
a
stay
lot of
on third
running in
base.
the
I feel like
outfield.
that's the safe spot for me.
You got to
I
run
feel like
around
third
and field
base
those
is a
balls in
safe
the
Second base.
outfield.
Second base is safe for you.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to see if they can switch me to second base. Now, granted, I am left-handed. So for me, being on third base probably isn't the most ideal. Left-handed people normally don't play shortstop or third base. Don't know how I got that position, but everyone knows in baseball that's not ideal. So they may have to switch me regardless. But yeah, I'll have a chat. I'll have a conversation with Joey. I'll be like, listen, y'all want to win?
Have you gone to
Have I
any
practiced
batting
what?
cages? Have you gone
Right.
to any
Type
batting
of practice
cages? Have
would
you
you
done
get in
any type of glove work?
I'm just gonna go out there and I'm gonna go out there and rely on my natural abilities as an athlete.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna make something happen. I'm confident that I'm gonna do, Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez and CC Sabathia and all the, Yankees of the present and the past. I'm gonna be proud. It's gonna be like angels in the outfield. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm gonna be guided by the spirits of present Yankees and past Yankees, and they're gonna lead me to victory. That's what I'm going with.
Ashley, do us a favor, right? There's always another game. There's always going to be another softball event that you're going to get invited
Yes,
to.
don't get hurt. I am aware.
I'm just letting you know. I feel uncomfortable with you going out there after being on crutches, scooters, and boots for 6 weeks. You just took your boot off, I believe. You still may have the boot on today. I feel uncomfortable with you going out there and even jogging.
Granted, I'm
really
not.
concerned.
It's hot out here. I'm not gonna break a sweat. I need to look cute for photos. I'm just gonna do like a little trot. You know what I mean? If I have to get the ball, I'll do like trot. I'll pick it up like cute, throw it back. I'm not gonna go out there full throttle it. But I'm definitely gonna go out there and try. I'm not gonna go out there and not try. I am somebody who, if I do something, I like to try and give it my all. But I'm not, an MLB All-Star, and I'm okay with that. That's not my.
Oh my goodness.
Bread and butter.
Well, good luck to you, Ashley. Yeah, no, he was gonna say B.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying good luck to it, and we're out of time today. It was a great show today. But yeah, we'll be looking forward to see what the stat sheet's saying and see if you get the dub tonight, Ashley.
Don't expect much. Don't expect much.
Listen, guys, paper route is heating up. Summer is heating up. It's hot. We're talking literally record temperatures. Our weather commentator, analyst, Ashley Nicole Moss, will continue to give you all the facts. She's been doing it the last couple of weeks. She is big into climate research, and she's a tree hugger.
Research? What? It's the environment, climate research. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, we made, what did I go to school for, Ashley?
Football.
There you go. But look, it's heating up here on paper route, right? Like we're 6 weeks away from our first NFL game. We're here. Training camp is underway. I think by the end of this week, probably every single team, all 32, would have reported to training camp. Yep. So we're going to see a lot more stories. I think the biggest story of them all right now is the running backs, right? What's going to happen to Josh Jacobs? Will he show up? Saquon Barkley, will he show up? So super excited about, the next couple of weeks, super excited about football season. We appreciate each and every one of you guys for rocking with us as we build out this show. We are gearing up. So you guys prepare. There's going to be so much more in store, so much more to come. But until then, we got to see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's show is going to be big. We're going to have footage of Ashley Nicole Moss hitting home runs, grabbing grounders.
Or we won't.
We will. Be safe, Ashley.
Take
care of yourself. See you tomorrow.
You yourself in Vegas, sir.
Yeah. All right, good people.
We love you guys. See y'all tomorrow.